last year we built several bikes. We built the Bright Bikes Pixel 1600, which had more than 800 LED pixels on each side, and it could display interactive lights and sound. We also built the Bright Bikes Neon. Rudy, you built that bike.
Yeah, it was powered from a Milwaukee drill battery. Looked kind of like a Tron bike, but really it was the logo bike, I guess we called it. And they both attracted big crowds. It was a lot of fun riding them around town and showing them off to people.
Yeah, we had a really good time. So a few weeks ago, we were sitting here at the Makerspace and we were talking about the Immerse Festival. Immerse is just this amazing downtown arts festival.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's like 4 blocks of interactive artists and performers and super cool festival.
And we love going. It's definitely our tribe, people that make all kind of crazy stuff, and then the performers are just out of this world. A few years ago, we took the big head selfie box we made and just walked around the crowd and just had a...
And that had LEDs on it.
It did have LEDs on it. So, Bright Box?
Bright Box?
Bright Box.
Bright
No,
big head Bright Box.
All right, we'll rebrand it later. For the last few years, we've been discussing this crazy large project. The idea was to build a giant boombox, like 15 feet wide, 9 feet tall. And we even had a design made. We got super lucky. We had an intern. What school was she from?
Appalachian State, Cynthia.
Cynthia, yeah. And Cynthia designed, we spent a lot of time looking at different models of boom boxes. And at that point, I could have told you all the cool models, and we were...
Oh yeah, we found all the blogs.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I had that one. I always wanted to have that one. And so she did Rhino, right? She did.
Well, yeah, Illustrator and Rhino.
Illustrator and Rhino. Even made a laser cut version of it. We'll find a picture of that. And so we were sitting around talking about, should we build the giant boombox for Immerse this year? We were like, well, but we also made the Bright Bikes. We could take the Bright Bikes. And in the middle of that conversation, it hit us. We should make a Bright Bikes bicycle boombox. And something like that? Yeah, Bright Bikes bicycle boom. Wait, there's an extra B in there.
Boom bike, Bright Bikes boom bike.
Yeah,
Bright Bikes boom bike.
That's what it was. Okay, so we are going to build a giant boombox that has a bicycle on the backside of it.
If you consider this giant, which most people do,
we should figure out the scale. Like, is this 20 times normal size, or?
Yeah, we should learn that.
So this is a PVC mock-up, and you're going to see later in the video.
This is the design that Cynthia came up with.
There you go.
So that's just like an Illustrator file she had sent us, and we just went ahead and.
We have a much fancier version. This was the knock it out
Save
quickly
the ink
for the prototype.
version. Yeah,
exactly. And so you'll see what we did. We got together this weekend and we made this PVC frame to test out the sizing. This is roughly 5 feet wide, 3 feet tall, 2 feet deep, and we guessed pretty good. When we got it together, we feel like this is the right proportions for it. But we're also trying to balance sort of maneuverability, interactivity.
Yeah, so we looked at could it be a trailer instead of a pusher, which we didn't really like. I think it doesn't look it's not as fun to look at.
As the person taking it to an event, you'd be doing this the whole night. Yeah, that's no fun.
Right. So being able to lean over.
Yeah, I like this because you can look over and talk to it.
And so we looked at even having the. Like you're inside of it, like a DJ riding inside of it. But this mock-up also works with the realities of building a sound system, right? Because the size of the speakers makes sense. We still have some ideas of how to make them look bigger than we have to make them, because we don't want this thing to weigh 1,800 pounds. So we've got some problem solving to do down the road. But step one, here we go.
Yeah. So let's watch the time lapse. We worked on it this weekend. We built this bike. This bike is, when we were building the original Bright Bikes last year, bicycles were actually kind of hard to come by. And so I had found 2 of these Life is Good bicycles, and we were going to add the fenders to them, the little
racks.
Racks, thank you. The racks to them. And then later we actually found bikes that already had the racks. So we kept these knowing we'd use them for a future project. So We threw one together quickly, but we built this just to get really the size of the proportion. And you can see here, this front actually will turn with the handle. The handlebars will actually be attached to it, and they'll turn.
It is the handlebars.
It is.
Yeah.
You're right. The bike, that is the handlebars. You're right. And so next steps. What are we gonna do?
I think the next thing we got to do is figure out the mech of how we get the frame. So we've decided on doing it in this format of like an ice cream cart style. So if you look at some of the ice cream carts, there's ones that are even bigger than this, where there's.
Can we put ice cream in it still?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay.
So you put two wheels on the inside. We're gonna hide the wheels on the inside versus putting on the
Yeah, a
outside.
lot of the ice cream carts are on the outside.
Yep. So we're gonna hide the wheels on the inside, and then so it'll just look like a floating boombox. But we gotta extend the chassis out, get the pivot point, make this thing so it actually can support its own weight on some wheels and stop.
Handy.
Yeah.
Handy. It's gonna be a lot of mass.
It's gonna be heavy. It's gonna be double the weight of a regular bike. So at least so.
I feel like we're gonna want to avoid curbs.
No, full suspension.
Oh yeah.
No. Avoid the curbs.
Avoid curbs. Because I think to your point, getting the bicycle mech part figured out is really the critical piece here. That I feel confident we can make it sound good. I feel confident we can make it look good.
And blink and have buttons
and
that you
blink
can hit.
and be like, I'm not worried about the interactivity. Also, I should mention, we are planning the interactivity to be on both sides. It will increase the weight.
Right.
It will increase the
and plans don't
time.
always go into reality, but we'll try with
Yeah,
the plan.
but the thought is to actually make it double-sided. So
Otherwise, we're gonna 3D print some really big D-cell batteries for this.
Ooh, that's a good idea. It's like a big battery. That's actually a big battery door, and then
Yeah.
we'll package the
lipos into the
like big
D-cell.
cylinders.
Yeah.
I kind of like that actually. So,
Might be harder than just building the second speaker
Yeah.
system.
Yeah. And then we were talking today. I think there's also some fun interactions that we'll add. So one of the things that we have to figure out, like whenever we do the normal Bright Bikes, is how does the rider easily control it? Now you don't want to be riding and changing things, but you're stopped. How do you easily control it? So I think we're going to end up doing some buttons kind of on this top edge back here, and that's really why these PVC prototypes are critical. I think we do PVC prototypes on
Everything.
just about everything.
Everything that it makes sense for, but
Maybe 2x4s on some other things, but because I don't think I really would have had that thought until I was sitting here on the bike looking at it at this scale. And it also allowed us to figure out the float off the floor pretty good. So I think it was super helpful in what we
A lot of
spent
ways.
an hour on this. Okay, maybe an hour and a half because I had to go back to Lowe's because I got the wrong fittings and we didn't pay attention.
time kind of flies. So like
When you're cutting PVC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Well, now all that's left is everything.
We have a little bit of work to do. And Immerse is in October.
Yeah. So
Plenty of time.
there's row left to build in the
Plenty
meantime.
of, yeah. Okay, well,
Here we go.
stay tuned. We're gonna make stuff.